The diner smelled of warm coffee, burnt toast, and rain. It was one of those quiet afternoons when life felt paused between storms. A girl in a wheelchair sat near the window, her brown hair tied loosely, her scarf wrapped twice around her neck. She was reading, lost in a world far from the one that had caged her legs. The bell above the diner door jingled softly whenever someone walked in, but she barely noticed until laughter broke the silence. Cruel laughter. That sound, sharp and careless, sliced through the hum of the jukebox. 3 boys in leather jackets swaggered toward her booth. Teenagers old enough to know better, yet young enough to be dangerous. One of them leaned close, too close, his grin dripping arrogance. "Hey, sweetheart," he said, "you saving that seat for your imaginary boyfriend, or is the wheelchair your date tonight?" Her eyes lifted slowly, calm but trembling. "Please, just leave me alone." He chuckled, tapping the side of her wheelchair. "What, can't stand up for yourself?" The others snickered, feeding on each other's cruelty. When she tried to turn her chair away, one of them blocked her path. Another reached out, grabbed her book, and flipped through it mockingly. "You like fairy tales? Guess you're still waiting for a hero to show up, huh?" And then it happened. A slap. Loud. Sharp. Humiliating. The entire diner froze. Her head jerked sideways, tears welled in her eyes, but she refused to cry out. The waitress gasped from behind the counter, but fear glued everyone in place. The bullies laughed again, their victory echoing through the silence. The girl lowered her gaze, her hands trembling on the wheels of her chair. She wanted to vanish, to melt into the floor, to disappear. But she didn't. She just sat there, still, breathing through the sting until they finally left, high-fiving each other like they'd conquered something. The bell jingled again. The door closed. And the diner returned to its uneasy hum, everyone pretending nothing had happened. Before we go further, if you believe kindness still matters, take a second to like this video, comment "I stand with her," and subscribe to Everyday Heroes. Because the world needs more hearts like yours. An hour passed. The girl's coffee had gone cold. She stared out the window, watching the rain blur the world beyond the glass. Her reflection looked small, fragile, but somewhere deep in her chest, something fierce flickered. She whispered softly, "Dad would have told me to be brave." Then another jingle of the doorbell. The sound of boots. Heavy ones. 5 men walked in. Bikers. Their leather vests bore patches, their boots left wet marks on the diner floor, and their presence filled the room like thunder. The leader, bald with a graying beard, scanned the diner slowly. His eyes were hard, observant, but not cruel. Behind him, the others stood silent, waiting. The waitress stiffened. "Can I help you, sir?" He nodded toward an empty booth, but his gaze drifted toward the girl by the window. She was shrinking in her chair, not out of fear, but because she didn't want anyone to notice her anymore. He walked closer. "You okay, sweetheart?" Her voice was small. "I'm fine, thank you." He frowned slightly. "Doesn't look fine to me." Another biker, taller, with tattoos down his arms, spotted the overturned cup and the red mark on her cheek. He clenched his fists. "Who did that?" She hesitated. It's over now. Please just let it go." But the leader wasn't the kind of man who let things go. He crouched beside her chair, his voice lowering. "Tell me, darlin'. Was it those punks that just walked out an hour ago?" Her eyes flickered, just a moment of silence, but that was enough. He stood up, his jaw tightening. "All right, boys," he said, voice calm as a storm before lightning. "Let's go for a ride." The air in the diner thickened. The waitress whispered, "Please don't cause trouble." He turned to her with a gentle smile. "Ma'am, we don't cause trouble. We end it." Outside, rain dripped from their leather jackets as they mounted their bikes. Engines roared to life, deep, rumbling thunder rolling through the quiet town. People turned their heads from shop windows as the pack disappeared down the street. Inside the diner, the girl stared after them, heart pounding. She didn't know what to feel: fear, guilt, or hope. 30 minutes later, the doorbell jingled again. This time, the same bullies stumbled back in. Their laughter was gone. Their jackets were soaked. Behind them, silence. Until the leader of the bikers stepped through the door, followed by his brothers. The bullies froze. The leader's boots echoed against the tile as he approached. "You boys think it's funny to hit someone who can't fight back?" His voice was low, controlled, but it carried weight. The tallest bully tried to smirk. It was just a joke. Before he could finish, the biker slammed his hand on the table. The sound made the plates rattle. "Does this look like a joke to you?" The boy stammered. The others backed up, cornered by a wall of leather and steel. The leader leaned closer, eyes burning with something raw. "You ever lay a hand on her, or anyone like her, again, you'll answer to me. Understand?" No one spoke. The bullies nodded quickly, their confidence shattered. He stepped aside, gesturing to the girl. "Now you apologize." They turned to her, voices shaking. "We're sorry." She didn't speak. She just looked at them, quiet and composed, as if reclaiming her power through silence. The leader nodded, satisfied. Then he crouched beside her again. "You don't ever let anyone make you feel small. You hear me? You roll proud, little one." Her eyes filled with tears, not from pain this time, but from something else. "Thank you," she whispered. He smiled softly. "No need to thank me. My daughter's in a chair, too." The words hit the room like a wave. The waitress covered her mouth, realizing why he'd reacted the way he did. He wasn't just defending a stranger, he was defending family. The bikers quietly sat down at the booths again, ordering coffee and pie like nothing had happened. But the diner wasn't the same anymore. The fear was gone. Replaced by a warmth that came from witnessing real strength, not the kind that intimidates, but the kind that protects. If this story touched your heart, take a second to like the video, share it with someone who believes in standing up for what's right, and subscribe to Everyday Heroes. Because together, we can make kindness louder than cruelty. The girl finished her coffee, then wheeled herself toward the door. The leader stood up and held it open for her, bowing his head slightly. She looked up at him and smiled. "Your daughter's lucky to have you." He grinned faintly. "Nah. I'm the lucky one." Outside, the rain had stopped. The sun broke through the clouds, scattering gold across the wet pavement. The girl rolled down the street, her scarf fluttering behind her like a flag of quiet victory. Inside the diner, the bikers sat in silence, their reflections glowing in the sunlight. The leader watched her go, eyes softening. Then he murmured, almost to himself. "Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear leather." And somewhere in that little diner, hope found a home again. True strength isn't in fists or fear, it's in protecting those who can't fight back. The world doesn't need more bullies. It needs more brothers, more fathers, more everyday heroes.